our team, our community. This is Condors Town, and this is another Energy Condors connection. Now, here's Erik Fox and Ryan Holt.
What's going on, B-Town? My name is Erik Fox here from Energy 95.3 here at our studios on the north side of town. If you travel down to 99 and about 3 hours later getting through construction, you'll find you're safe on Truxton Avenue. That's where my brother from another mother, Ryan Holt, from your Bakersfield Condors is. How you doing, buddy?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing all right, man. So you're home in about 24 hours now. You'll be ready to have a puck drop. We'll talk about that in a moment.
Yeah.
As our, what did they call it? The field trip game?
Field trip day game. Yep.
There we go. As we always do here, right here with your Condors Connection, we always talk first about the big club. You know, when all these players you see, and all of a sudden, poof, get like a Star Trek or warped all over. They usually go to Edmonton. So let's talk about Edmonton. Why don't we? I know there was a transition somewhere there, but I'm not sure what it was. So, anyways, let's talk about it, because you know what? It's when you're going to be on a hot streak. It's really nice to be on that hot streak at the tail end of the season when you're heading towards the playoffs. And we can't say anything but that for the Oilers right now. Winning the last 4, 7-2-1 in the last 10. What's clicking up there, my friend?
Yeah. They've been good on home ice. They started to get back healthy. They're getting some good goaltending, and, it's all leading to success. They're beating the teams they should beat. They're, in games with teams that, are right in the mix with them. And, they got a big couple of games coming up still in this California trip. They had a nice win over the Ducks the other night. And now, you face another team that's out of the postseason in San Jose. And then you have LA kind of on the horizon here. And that's kind of the matchup right now, the first round matchup, if, everything drew up the way it, looks right now. So, for Edmonton, it's just about staying the course and finishing the season strong. I'm pretty sure it's a playoff team. They go to solidify things here down the stretch, and want to be playing the best hockey going into the postseason, and that's what the team's at right now.
Talking about best hockey right now, it's not just Edmonton who is caught fire, but also Vegas. They're kind of nipping at their heels right now. What are you kind of seeing with that race going on as we head towards the tail end of the season?
Yeah, I think everyone's kind of surprised as to where Vegas is, and you can maybe make an injury argument, obviously, and some goaltending argument for them. But, they're riding a goaltender right now in Logan Thompson, who was against the Condors last year, and for the better part of this season too, but kind of got thrown in the mix here in the last month and a half with some injuries. And, he's, I think, 4-0 or 5-0 in his last 5 starts. And, all of a sudden you look up and, he's taking advantage of an opportunity. So, good for him. They need it because, they went on a little bit of a skid there for a good couple of weeks. And, they and Henderson, have kind of had the same type of seasons, with injuries and with call-ups and stuff like that. So do I think Vegas sneaks in? Yeah, I think they probably sneak in. I think when healthy, they're, easily a playoff team, but they haven't been healthy and they haven't been playing like it.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see. Obviously, we are just have a little bit of time left here in the season. What do the Oilers really need to do as we get into this last little push?
Yeah, and I think they've done a nice job the last couple of games of integrating some of the new pieces. Guys like Brassard and Kulak, they're starting to find their roles. Evander Kane's been, maybe the best acquisition, of anybody in the NHL. And that goes for, just about anybody. And I included as a trade deadline acquisition, even though, it was made in February or, a month before the deadline. I think it was a really, stealth pickup for Evander Kane to join the team, and he only makes $1 million. And that's, that's great work. He's going to score 20 goals and he's only going to play, a quarter of the season. So, good for the Oilers. I think it's, continuing to do what they do. And, I think 5-on-5, much like we saw here in Bakersfield with Jay Woodcroft, 5-on-5, it's a tough team to beat. And those are the type of teams that have success in the playoffs because you don't get as many power plays and penalties as you usually would in the regular season.
It's going to definitely be interesting to see at the final push. Obviously, it could affect the Condors as we head into playoffs. Yeah. But let's jump to the Condors. And if I had confetti in my office, which I'd be a little more confused on why I have confetti in my office, but if I did, I would throw it up in the air because it is official. Your Condors have clinched a playoff spot. Talk about that.
Yeah, step one of many for this team, but it is nice. There's some sort of it's not like baseball, where you kind of celebrate every round and every sort of victory and every sort of, there's a clubhouse scene every time. Guys kind of just typically go about their business, and there's a bigger prize, kind of out there. So, big 5-2 win on Saturday, officially clinched a playoff berth. We all knew it was coming. But the bigger, news out there is that this team is right in the mix for home ice, in the first round, which is huge. It's a best of 3 series. So if you can get all 3 games at home, that's huge, and especially against teams, in that mix like Colorado and Abbotsford, who just don't seem to want to lose. The only time Colorado loses is against the Condors or Abbotsford. Only time Abbotsford loses against the Condors or Abbotsford or Colorado. And same thing for the Condors, it seems, here as of late too. So it's going to be a battle here the last 10 games for Bakersfield to try and lock up home ice, but that's big. We saw the crowd on Friday night, 5,500, with no mandates, no restrictions, and very little time to put something together. And all of a sudden, people came back in droves on a Friday night. So excited for the final couple of home games here for this team. And we know what this place is like in the postseason, come playoff time.
And let's talk about that, because we are heading into the final part, and we'll talk about Colorado in a second here. But let's talk about tomorrow, where I might have a little cold, so I might have to go to the Condor game. Early start tomorrow. It's the field trip day game. How's that? I mean, it's got to be different. Obviously, the players are on the ice usually about that time for their normal practices. But how is that with a game, though?
Yeah, it's definitely interesting, and it's a credit to our staff too. Just want to give them a shout out, because this game is usually in the first half of the year in November, with no field trips, with restrictions and things of that. We had to shift it back to April, and as of a month ago, we really didn't even know if we were going to be able to play in the morning. We were probably just going to play it in the morning anyways, just for simplicity's sake. But we didn't know if it was going to be a field trip day, and we're still going to have about 3,000 kids tomorrow, which is awesome. It keeps the tradition going. Is it going to be a smaller than normal field trip day? Sure. But it's a little different. But at the same token, thousands of kids are going to have fun tomorrow. And that's really what it's all about. And, there's, the play on the ice. Guys, it's not much of a difference. Guys are kind of used to strange start times. In the NHL, you get 1:00 starts all the time on the weekends too. So, it varies, but, it's fun for the kids, and guys get a kick out of it. And, it's a fun day, and, we all wear jerseys and we don't wear suits, and it's more of a fun atmosphere, even more so than a normal game day. All tickets are just $12. So, if you're like Erik and, might have a little tingle in your throat tomorrow, all tickets are just $12, and you can sit anywhere in the building, and, we kind of keep you away from the throngs of kids in the building too. So it should be a lot of fun.
I think the other cool part about that, and as part of the field trip day, and I know you guys have done this in the past, where it also gives a chance for teachers to teach, like, physics and aerodynamics and some of these other things that are in play with a hockey game. So it's not just going out there and seeing an awesome game, but definitely giving a chance to have the kids learn a little thing.
Yeah.
And you know what? The kids learn something. That's never a bad thing, right?
Yeah. And we have an educational booklet that all the kids receive, and they take it home and have answers, and we put them up online and things like that. And then we have another, game operations aspect to it, where, all of our media breaks are, they're not necessarily sponsored anymore. They're, tailored towards, geography or reading. And it's really for all ages too. We'll add some jersey numbers, and that's, more for the little kids. And then maybe we'll do some capitals and some, where are these condors from, and some world, geography type thing. And then you mentioned the science aspect to it. There's a lot of cool stuff with hockey and kind of the physics and, aerodynamics, as you mentioned. It's, it's pretty cool. And, the health and nutrition that players go through. It's a pretty cool day.
Speaking of aerodynamics, you guys are going to learn some aerodynamics as the team gets into a plane. Don't you love my transition sometimes?
I love it. You're having great segues today.
As you climb into the clouds and head on out to Colorado, we were talking about how Colorado has just been a force right now locally. And you guys have 2 games coming up with them. How's that going? And, what do you need to prepare for that?
they're huge. This week will determine whether or not the Condors will have a shot at third. I think. Depending on how this week goes. Colorado only has 7 games left. The Condors have 10, and Bakersfield is basically 3 games back of Colorado and play them twice this weekend. So if one team or the other takes both this weekend, you can safely say that the other one's probably out of the mix for the third spot. Colorado has a little easier path, but not much easier. They still have to play Ontario 3 times. So I think that second spot's in play, honestly. Ontario dropped both games to Colorado this past weekend. They have to play Colorado 3 more times. They play Stockton twice this week. Listen, I don't say, maybe. I mean, Kansas came back from 15 down at the half last night. So, anything can happen. And Ontario's got 5 games against some really tough competition, and they're not that far ahead. They're only 4 points up on Colorado right now. So, if they're not careful, Ontario could slip to third or, even slip to fourth, depending on, how bad the team does over the final 10 games there. So, I think just from playing each other, one team has to win, one team has to lose. So if Ontario doesn't hold water here, the Condors and Canucks and Eagles are knocking right on their door right now.
It's going to be a hell of a game to watch coming up. Obviously, anyone wants to watch it on the road, AHL.TV, right?
Yeah, AHL TV is a great location. And, we have watch parties in McGarry's Irish Pub, too, for those that are 21 and older and can enjoy some libations. And, we have on the big screen over there, too. So earlier start time this Friday and Saturday, too. It's 6 o'clock starts, with us being in Colorado. So good opportunity to maybe catch a happy hour and enjoy the game and see the Condors hopefully get a couple of wins out in Loveland.
And, of course, bosses who are really good bosses are going to take all of their employees to an early game tomorrow. How do they get tickets for that?
Yeah, at our office, online, BakersfieldCondors.com. All tickets are just $12. So that includes all the fees, everything. Everything's just $12. And looking forward to having everyone out.
It's an amazing time. April's going to be a crazy one as we get into the playoff time. And it's nice to chase the Calder again, man. It's been a crazy couple of years, but the return to normality, which is something we've been craving, it's nice to have it back. So let's go Condors, of course.
Let's do it.
This has been another episode of your Energy Condors Connection. My name is Erik Fox from Energy 95.3. My brother from another mother on the other side of the screen is Mr. Ryan Holt from your Bakersfield Condors. And, of course, we'll catch you next week and get you all caught up as we get on that tail end of the season right here with your Bakersfield Condors. See you next time.